Hello, how are you doing? So we're finally at a point where we will create our Amazon Alexa skill using IBM Bluemix OpenWhisk to host the backend actions and IBM Watson tone analyzer to analyze the array of objects. Over here, the facts. So basically, let me just walk you through what we are going to build actually. So in this thing, you tell Alexa, say, listen Alexa, I want you to tell me a random fact. So Alexa tells you a random fact. I want Alexa tell me some happy fact. So Alexa tells you a happy fact. You know, facts which make you happy. Alright, so now that you know what we're doing, let's get started. So what are the requirements first of all? Okay, you need to have Amazon developers account. Just go to this website and log in with your Amazon credentials basically. And then if you have an Alexa device, that's like fantastic, but don't worry if you don't, even I don't have it. Third, you need to have a Bluemix account. Sign up for it. If you don't have an account already, you get a 30-day free subscription to it. After that, it's charged. So alright, let's get going. So let's first create the skill. So right now we're at the dashboard of our Amazon's developers console and hover over to Alexa. So now we'll be creating a Alexa skill here, a basic skill using Alexa skill set. So get started with that. And so here we are, add a new skill. Let's add it. So there's a little form you have to fill out. So name, Alexa and Watson. Invocation name, Watson. It's basically the name customer has to speak so that our app gets activated. So in this case, we'll be saying something like, hey Alexa, ask Watson to give me a random fact. Hey Alexa, ask Watson to do so. So Watson is the invocation name. We save our thing. Next. Alright, so we have to give out an intent schema. So basically what an intent schema is that we specify what all intents we are gonna have. Like random fact is one intent, happy fact is one intent, sad fact is one intent, exciting fact or funny fact, they're like different intents. So we're gonna just work with two intents over here. Intent number one would be definitely random fact, and intent number two, oops, this has to be outside, has to be a happy fact. Alright, sounds good to me. That's our intent schema. So we'll be referring to these particular terms, this small r and a capital F in our code. Okay, so make sure this is the exact same word you're gonna write down here, and the exact same word should be there in the code. Alright, so sample utterances. Well, we can just write stuff like random fact, Watson to play a random fact, happy fact, Watson to play a happy fact. Okay, so we save it and then we head on to our next thing. So basically the next thing is the backend part. We can either support our backend with Amazon's AWS Lambda, or we can use our OpenWhisk. So OpenWhisk is like a tad bit more developer friendly than Amazon Lambda, so obviously we'll be using OpenWhisk. Alright, so let's go to this website and download it. To download this for the Mac OS. And make sure all of these downloads are in the same folder, because you don't want any troubles with the binary files, really. And this is like a little picky, this OpenWhisk thing. Launch it. Yeah. Open. Alright, so the process is completed. And the file, I named it as action.js. So I'll explain the code as and when I write it. Alright, so first and foremost, we'll be importing this module, Watson Developer Cloud. Alright, so here it goes. So basically, this is how we set the Watson Developer Cloud, and we would be using the Tone Analyzer API by Watson. So there are a couple of things we just have to write down, because that's how the format is, the username, password, which we'll get into in a minute, and then the version is there, the version date is there. This is exactly how you're supposed to write it. Alright, now let's create the facts array. So basically, what are we doing here? We just created a random integer, alright, and that random integer would go into this array, facts array, so that whenever we call for a random fact is thrown back at us. Alright, so simple enough. Now the main part. Okay, now how do we go about that? The backend part, the OpenWhisk part. Okay, here. So basically, what did I do here? So our main function, it takes an argument, okay, called args. So our intent, remember the intent schema we wrote down there? This is the same intent, all right? So that's how that's defined, and the text which Alexa will speak is for now blank, all right? So if intent, so basically now what did I do? I basically wrote the intent name. If intent name is random fact, then we call the function random fact, and the text will be appended with random facts. So Alexa will be speaking these random facts. Now let's make a REST API call to Alexa. All right, this is how. All right, so this is how that goes. So version is 1.0, our response. So should end session means as soon as the response is given back, end the session. It's a single dialogue conversation. And the type would be plain text, and this is exactly what Alexa would be speaking. Alright? And now we definitely need to return the responses. Wait. And then return a response. Alright? Cool. Next, we will be handling our second intent, that is the happy intent. This is where the tone analyzer comes into the picture. Now let's see how that. Alright, so that's exactly what the code is, and let's save it. So I'll explain the last bit of it. So if the intent name is happy fact, then we make a promise. Now what is a promise? It's basically an asynchronous JavaScript concept, ECMAScript basically, ES6. And it's very new, asynchronous JavaScript. Read up on it. So promise, it either gets resolved or it gets rejected. So now, when will the promise get resolved and when will the promise get rejected? See, if there's an error in the tone, the promise is rejected, okay? And how would we know there's an error in the tone? We would loop through each and every fact, okay? For each is a loop which loops through the entire array we created for facts. All right, now this is when the promise gets rejected. And when will the promise get resolved? This is where the promise gets resolved. Where's this line coming from? See, basically Watson talks in JSON format. Alright, So what does the JSON file look like? This is what it looks like basically. So tone dot document underscore tone dot tone categories, first one, the zeroth tone, that would be this, the emotional tone, anger, disgust, fear, joy, or sadness, or stuff like that. So it loops through each and every one of it, and when it finds the entry's tone name, that is tone name is joy, and the entry score is greater than 0.5, that means the uh, Watson is more than 50% sure that this is joy, then it comes back with the text. All right, and then you make the REST API call to Alexa, and that's how your promise gets resolved. All right, simple code, that's it. And then run the following command: a dot followed by a / WSK list. And then you cd into the code directory and run the following command. So this basically shows the packages, the actions, triggers, and rules that are currently deployed in your OpenWhisk namespace. All right. So now let's use a Cloud Foundry CLI tool to create the tone analyzer service. So for that, we go here, this one, and we go down in this brew install Cloud Foundry, and you run that here, and it won't even take a minute. And then we would basically have to log in now. All right, after you download the OpenWhisk thing, make sure you run this command into the terminal. Wait, make sure you write the dot and the / and it comes with OK. Copy this dot / it returns with hello. So great. Alright, so our OpenWhisk setup is all cool and done. Next domain. Alright, so now that we have downloaded the CFCLI, where we can run this command. I use the --SSO because I am using a federated IBM ID, but you need to do without the --SSO. This gives me actually a one-time password, so that won't be required in your case. So I am successfully logged in, and the next thing I have to do is create a service. So cf create service tone analyzer, light version we would be using, and the name of the service would be Alexa Analyzer. So it's creating our service right now. This might take a minute. So this basically goes up to Bluemix dashboard and creates a service for you. So pretty simple that way. And then, all right, so service is created. Let's refresh this. So we need to obtain, the tone analyzer credentials by clicking here. And service credentials, and add new credential, and just add. All right, so view them. So this is a URL, username, password, these are all secrets. So copy your username, copy, and here paste it, and again copy your password, copy, and then again paste it, save it. All right, so we have modified our action.js, and now finally we have to create an OpenWhisk action. All right, so dot / WSK action create Alexa and Watson action.js. This creates an OpenWhisk action. So now basically wait a second, WSK action create Alexa action.js. Alright, so our action Alexa is created. Now we have to expose our OpenWhisk action as an API. How would we do that? WSK API experimental create / Alexa Watson space / API / version 1 post Alexa annotation web export true. Wait a second. Oh, I didn't spell that right. Alright, so our API will be exposed and something like this. Fantastic. We got the result. So copy this, copy, go over here, HTTPS, and then maybe North America, paste, and then do you allow save, and then next, this is where we test it. Okay, so let's test it by saying something like Alexa ask Watson to play a happy fact. Alright, so where is our happy fact? Here's a happy fact. Cows have best friends and they tend to spend most of their times together. So you can even listen to it.
Here is a random fact. Here is a happy fact for you. Cows have best friends and they tend to spend most of their time together.
So that was Alexa, not me. So fantastic, your applications has been created, and the next step would be like you're publishing information. You have to write a couple of things about your app and stuff like that, and then it will be there on the Amazon's app page. Alright, so you just have to get a certification, and that's all. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.